We will be continuing our notes on 3.5, so please take out your worksheets that we were working on in class and continue to put the problems on that worksheet. Please make sure that you watch the video all the way to the end. You can pause and you can rewind this video as you need. Question 1 says write an equation for the line with a slope of 1/4 and passes through the point 4, 3. Again, we want to make sure we know the information we're given. We're given the slope and we're given a point. Therefore, we should use point slope form. And from there, we can plug it in. 4 being the x1, 3 being the y1. Now we have an equation of a line. The second part is to put it into standard form. And if you remember, standard form is ax plus by equals c. So we'll distribute the 1/4. We'll move the x over. And then finally we'll move the 3 over. Now, the only other thing about standard form is we do not want fractions, so we're going to multiply the whole thing by the denominator. You could do this in the beginning, which is over here if you wanted to, but we'll distribute this, and we will get x plus 4y equals 16. And there is our equation in standard form. Looking at number 2, it says write an equation of a line with a slope 5/2 and b equals -5. Well, what b is, if you remember, b is our y-intercept. And again, we have the slope, so we have to think about what form has y-intercept and slope. And easy enough, that is our slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So we plug in the slope for the m, we put in the -5 for the b, and we have our equation. We just need to make sure it's the right form. Write it in slope-intercept form, which it is, so we're finished with number 2. Number 3 says write an equation of a line that passes through 0, 4, and 5, 9, and we should write it in standard form. If we are given 2 points, we should create a slope. And you should hopefully remember that we calculate slope by y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So when we plug it in, 9 minus 4 over 5 minus 0, and that gives us 5 over 4, which equals 1. So our slope is 1, and then let's look at what else is given. We're given 0, 4, and 5, 9, which are both points. But more specifically, if we look at 0, 4, this is a y-intercept. So I don't even need to do point slope form. I can use y equals mx plus b, which is a little bit easier just to plug in. And I plug in my slope to be 1 and my y-intercept to be 4. Then I just look at the second part. I want it to be in standard form. So I'm just going to rearrange this a little bit by bringing the x over. -x plus y equals 4. And there's standard form of my equation. Number 4 asks us to write an equation of a line that passes through the points 7, 10, and -1, -1, and to write it in standard form. Again, once we see 2 points, our instinct should be to write a slope. So take a second, pause the video, and calculate the slope. Our slope is 11/8. Now what we'll do is we'll take the slope and we'll take a point and we'll plug it into our point slope form since it's the point and the slope. Again, pause the video and write the equation of the point slope form. Alright, this should be the form in point slope. From here, it asks us to write it in standard form. So we need x and y on the same side. And together because it's going very nicely. So we'll distribute the So when we distribute the 11th base, we're going to get 77 over 8. Now, to be standard form fractions, so we're going to multiply everything by the denominator equation. If I do something on one side, I can do it to the other, and it will cancel out. And we will get 8y minus 80 equals 11x minus 77. Because when we distribute the 8 over to the other side, the denominators will cancel, and that will make it a little bit easier for us to work with. We will bring 11x to the other side. Then finally the 80. And we get negative 11x plus 8y equals 3. That would be the standard form of our equation. All right, the last question, number 5. Take a minute, pause the video, read over the question, and see if you can get a head start on letter A. All right, we have a fruit company that's producing pineapple sauce to see if it should be continued. And the sales are the following: that if for the first year it produced a profit of 30,000, at the end of the fourth year it was a profit of 66,000. In letter A, we're going to assume that the relationship is linear, with the years of the market being our x value and the profit being our y value. So what you should be doing in letter A is your 2 points, 2 relationships. And then the second relationship is in the fourth year where sales were at 60. Now, once we get the 2 relationships as a point, what you're going to do is you are going to make a slope out of that. Because again, anytime you see 2, you should make a slope equation out of it. So we'll take 66,000, subtract 30,000 over 4 minus 1. And the numerator will get 36,000 over 3. And the slope then will be 12,000 over 1. Again, take a minute and figure out what the slope means in relationship to our problem. What does the 12,000 mean versus the 1? What you should come up with, and you should write this down, is that sales profits will increase $12,000 for every year added to the market. So after every year, you can expect $12,000. Once we have our slope, we can take a point and then we can put a point slope equation. We'll put this into slope-intercept form so it's a little bit easier to work with. We'll distribute the 12. So we get y equals 12,000x plus 18,000. What B is asking us to find is to predict the profit at the end of 7 years. So what we can do is we'll figure out what 7 years is. 7 years is our x value, because that will be the number of years on the market. So we plug it into our equation. for the x value. So we'll do 12,000 times 7 plus 18,000. And what we end up getting, $102,000 for profit at the end of 7 years.